Hello you lovely people, I'm Nick and welcome to Firthy's Feedback. In this video, I'd like to talk about the explosive, emotional and very superlative driven final 2 episodes of Stranger Things Season 4. Strap in, there are spoilers ahead. So, there are several examples across pop culture history of expectations ruining the viewing experience of your most anticipated movie or show. You make up a version of what you're going to watch, and when you don't get to see that, you judge it based on your imagination instead of what you are witnessing. But I can safely say, this wasn't the case for Stranger Things. For me, anyway. Chapter 4 has so far, in the 7 episodes released in May, been a big return to form for Stranger Things after a saggy 3rd season and a lengthy hiatus. As things pick up here in the last 2 episodes, Mike and the Byers brothers are in California while Joyce and Murray are in Russia searching for Hopper. "I guess you got my message," says Hopper when they finally reunite. "Oh no. I've just always wanted to visit the Soviet Union," deadpans Joyce, their chemistry fizzing off the screen. 11, meanwhile, is underground somewhere in a Nevadan desert. Enemies are closing in, not just Vecna, but the US military and a heavily armed vigilante mob in Hawkins. And if the good cop bad cop of child behavioural psychology, Dr. Owens and Dr. Brenner have their way, it'll be on 11 to save the world. "You eased her into it nice and gentle," Owens tells his colleague with a raised eyebrow, after they reveal that only 11 can stop Vecna. No pressure. The greatest strength of Stranger Things has always been its casting. Guessing, and it is always a guess with child actors, which kids will be able to carry that childhood charisma over into adulthood is a very specific skill. But, without exception, Stranger Things has aced it. This series has offered a huge breakthrough to Sadie Sink as tortured tomboy Max, and her effortless cool continues into the finale. But really, these final episodes are about Millie Bobby Brown's 11. "I came here to try to understand who I was, to see if I was the monster," she tells Dr. Brenner. "And now I know the truth. It's not me. It's you." 11 has always been the existential enigma at the heart of the show, and finally she is getting some clarity on who and why she is. Sidelined for much of this season in California, stripped of her powers, she's back with a bloody-nosed vengeance. The first episode of Stranger Things, back in the naive innocence of 2016, was 49 minutes long. This series finale is 150 minutes long. It's an episode that is not just feature length, but epic. Longer even than Apocalypse Now. The desire to further blur the line between cinema and television, especially with movie theatres in terminal decline, is natural, though the sprawling scope of this series of Stranger Things would, possibly, be usefully tamed by a tighter running time. But I didn't mind it. All the same, the Duffer Brothers know how to construct a climax, as the reunited gang do battle with Vecna back on home turf in Hawkins, Indiana. "I have this gnawing feeling that it might not work out for us this time," Robin, Maya Hawke, another great casting by the way, tells Joe Keery's Steve Harrington, "but if we don't stop him, who will?" This season also ramped up the emotional aspect of the characters as well. Whilst the Hawkins crew were a bit of an afterthought in the first 7 episodes, they were brought firmly to the forefront in the finale when they find 11 and help her battle Vecna. Will's open conversation with Mike was a real tearjerker when he was staring out of the window crying his eyes out. You could see he was desperate to tell him something. Jonathan saw this conversation in the van and had a heart-to-heart with Will when they were sorting out 11's makeshift bath. Will looked so relieved that he could talk to his brother about whatever it was he held back when talking to Mike. It was a very emotional piece of television on both counts. There was also Hopper reuniting with Eleven, which I know made lots of people's eyes rain. Lucas trying to save Max after she was released from Vecna's grip. Both performances were absolutely stellar from these two throughout the final 2 episodes. Now, if you've seen my previous Stranger Things videos, you will know I'm quite a fan of Eddie Munson, and I really hoped that he would survive this season. My hopes were quickly extinguished when Eddie said, "I'm not going to run away anymore." But this was after he delivered the second most iconic scene of the season, where he absolutely shredded in the Upside Down, riffing to Metallica's Master of Puppets. I couldn't help but smile through it, but as we all know, it wasn't to be for Eddie, and to see Dustin break down like he did when Eddie died in his arms would have made even the hardest of men cry. All in all, I really loved the final 2 episodes, and while some people will complain they were too long, I think the Duffers did a fantastic job hyping up the finale and really delivered. In my opinion, I think it should have ended with the cracks opening up in Hawkins, the question mark over whether Max was alive or not, and the big reunite with the kids, Hopper and Joyce, should have waited until season 5. But overall, I can't complain. 2 thumbs fresh from me. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Please let me know yours in the comments below. I'd also like to thank you for watching until the end, and please don't forget to drop a like on the video, and if you like the content, please consider subscribing and clicking the bell notification icon to stay up to date when new videos are available. So, for now, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.